You spent 4 years building toward this day. The cap, the gown, the family photo that's supposed to mean something. Then you open Instagram and see it. Your mother and your sister seated at a restaurant, a plate with "Congrats graduate" in chocolate sauce. You weren't invited. She didn't forget. She just didn't think of you. And that quiet moment of being erased, that's the kind of wound that doesn't bleed but never quite heals. This is Maya, 23 years old, diploma in hand, and not one text from her mother. Instead, she finds a photo on Instagram, her mom and her younger sister at a restaurant, a dessert plate that reads "Congrats graduate." Maya wasn't even told about the plan. This isn't a case of a forgotten text or a missed call. It's a pattern that has run through her entire life. One child celebrated in public, the other quietly erased. The question is not whether her mother loves her. The question is why love gets rationed differently between two daughters. And what happens when the invisible child finally stops pretending not to notice? Maya was 7 years old the first time she understood the difference. Her sister Emma had drawn a picture, just a house with a yellow sun and a smiling stick figure family. Their mother, Diane, framed it, hung it in the kitchen, told everyone who visited about Emma's artistic talent. A week earlier, Maya had brought home a report card with straight A's. Diane glanced at it, said "good job," and put it on the counter. By the next morning, it was buried under the mail. That was the pattern, not dramatic, not violent, just 1,000 small moments where one child's light was turned up and the other's was dimmed. Research shows that parental favoritism occurs in nearly 2/3 of families. 40% of American adults say their parents had a favorite, and in most cases, the favorite is the younger child, more agreeable, easier to manage, less demanding. Emma fit that description perfectly. She laughed easily, asked for help, and made their mother feel needed. Maya was independent, stubborn, and quiet in ways that looked like coldness, but were really just self-protection. Their father, Mark, noticed, but Mark had learned years earlier that noticing was not the same as intervening. He was a gentle man who hated conflict. When Diane praised Emma's soccer goal while Maya's piano recital went unmentioned, Mark would give Maya a small, apologetic smile. That smile became a language between them. It meant "I see it, but I won't stop it." And over time, that complicity hurt almost as much as the neglect. By middle school, the gap had widened. Emma's grades were good but not exceptional, yet every B+ was celebrated with dinner out, a new phone case, a post on social media. Maya's straight A's were met with a nod and a change of subject. When Maya asked why, Diane said, "We expect more from you, honey." That sentence, delivered with a smile, became the official explanation for everything. Maya was held to a higher standard not because she was less loved, but because she was more capable. That was the lie the family told itself, and for years, Maya believed it. Here's what the research says about that kind of conditional regard. When parents' appreciation depends on a child meeting expectations, it creates competition and resentment between siblings. The unfavored child doesn't just feel unloved, they feel unseen. The same parts of the brain that register physical pain activate when a person is socially excluded. Maya was experiencing that pain daily, but she had no name for it. She just knew that something in her chest tightened every time her mother laughed at Emma's joke while walking past her own. High school sharpened the contrast further. Maya earned a scholarship to a summer program at Georgetown. Diane mentioned it once at a family dinner, then quickly turned the conversation to Emma's new role as freshman class secretary. When Maya won a regional debate championship, her father took her out for ice cream. Her mother stayed home because Emma had a cold and needed care. Emma's cold lasted 2 days. Maya's achievement lasted a lifetime in her memory, but only a moment in the family narrative. The college years created distance, literal and emotional. Maya moved to a different city, called home every Sunday, and always asked about Emma first. She learned early that asking about herself led to awkward pauses and short answers, so she stopped asking. She built a life that didn't require validation from the people who had never learned how to give it. But the longing didn't disappear. It just moved underground. Graduation day arrived on a warm May morning. Maya had invited her family months in advance. Her father confirmed. Her mother said, "We'll try to make it work." Emma was taking finals, so there was uncertainty. Maya spent the morning getting ready alone. She put on her gown, checked her phone, no texts. She drove to the stadium, found her seat among thousands of graduates, and scanned the crowd for familiar faces. She spotted her father in the stands, waving. Next to him was her mother. And next to her mother was Emma. They had come. Maya felt a sudden rush of relief. The ceremony lasted 2 hours. When her name was called, Maya walked across the stage, took her diploma, and looked up at her family section. Her father was clapping. Her mother was looking down at her phone. Emma was nowhere in sight. After the ceremony, Maya pushed through the crowd looking for them. She found her father first. He hugged her, said he was proud. Then he said, "Your mother and Emma went to grab a quick bite. They'll meet us later." Maya nodded, but something felt wrong. She pulled out her phone and opened Instagram. The first post in her feed was from Emma, a photo of their mother and Emma at a restaurant, a dessert plate on the table, chocolate script on the plate, "Congrats, graduate." No mention of Maya. The caption read, "Celebrating my amazing sister's big day. So proud of you, Emma." Maya stared at the screen. Her sister's graduation was in 2 weeks. This wasn't for Emma. This was for someone else. Then she realized the truth. The restaurant, the dessert, the celebration, it was all for Emma. Her mother had taken her younger sister out to celebrate Maya's graduation without Maya, and posted it for everyone to see. The crowd around her blurred. Her father was still talking, but she couldn't hear him. All she could feel was the familiar tightness in her chest, the same one she had felt at 7 years old when her report card disappeared under the mail. Only this time, it wasn't buried. It was public, and there was no going back to pretending she hadn't noticed. Maya stood in the crowd, her phone still glowing with the image, and for the first time she didn't feel the urge to forgive. She didn't rationalize, she didn't make excuses. She just felt the cold truth settle into her bones. Her mother had taken her sister to a restaurant to celebrate Maya's graduation. The caption congratulated Emma, and the dessert plate said, "Congrats, graduate," to no one in particular, but everyone who saw it would assume it was for the girl in the photo. The girl who still had 2 weeks until her own graduation. The girl who had done nothing to earn a celebration that day, except exist as the preferred daughter. Maya turned off her phone, shoved it into her pocket, and told her father she needed to go home. He looked at her face and didn't argue. He drove her back to her apartment in silence. The kind of silence that had filled the car on so many childhood drives after she had been overlooked again. Her father knew, he always knew, and he never said a word. That night, Maya sat alone in her apartment and did something she had never done before. She opened a blank document on her laptop and began to write. Not a journal entry, not a letter, a list. She titled it Patterns. Underneath, she started with the earliest memory she could find, age 7 report card buried under the mail, then age 8 a school play where she had the lead role. Her mother came late, sat in the back, left before the curtain call. Age 9, her birthday party. Her mother forgot to order a cake, so they had cupcakes from the grocery store. Emma's birthday the same year had a custom cake with fondant flowers. She kept writing. Age 12, she won the school spelling bee. Her mother said, "That's nice," and changed the subject to Emma's upcoming soccer tournament. Age 14, she broke her wrist falling off a bike. Her mother drove her to urgent care but spent the entire time on the phone with Emma, who was upset about a friend drama. Age 16, she got her driver's license. No celebration. Emma got her learner's permit a year later, and her mother threw a small party. Each entry was a small cut, but the list went on for pages. By the time Maya finished, she had documented 23 years of moments. The total added up to something she had always felt but never been able to prove. She was not the second priority. She was the afterthought, the one who was mentioned only when convenient, the one whose achievements were treated as background noise. She saved the document and closed the laptop. Then she opened Instagram again. The post still had likes and comments. "You're so lucky to have such a supportive mom," one read. "Congrats, Emma, so proud of you," another said. Maya scrolled through the comments. None of them mentioned her. None of them knew she existed. Her mother had crafted a narrative where Emma was the star, and Maya was the silent beneficiary of a celebration that wasn't even for her. The next morning, Maya's phone buzzed. A text from her mother. "Hope you had a good day yesterday, proud of you." That was it. 3 sentences, no mention of the restaurant, no mention of the post, no apology. Maya stared at the message and felt a strange calm come over her. Years ago, she would have replied with something gracious. "Thanks, Mom, it was great to see you." She would have swallowed the pain and played her role. But something had shifted. Maybe it was the list. Maybe it was the public nature of the exclusion. Or maybe it was simply the exhaustion of pretending. She didn't reply. That decision, small as it was, set off a chain reaction. Her mother called the next day. Maya let it go to voicemail. Then her father called. Maya answered. He asked if everything was okay. She said yes. He paused, then said, "Your mother is worried about you." Maya almost laughed. "She's worried about me, or she's worried that I'm not responding." Her father didn't answer. That silence again. Over the next week, Maya's silence became louder than words. Her mother sent texts about family plans. Maya didn't respond. Her mother left a voicemail asking if Maya was coming to Emma's graduation in 2 weeks. Maya didn't reply. She needed time to think. And in that time, she began to see the pattern not just in her own life, but in the research that exists about families like hers. Studies show that maternal favoritism isn't always about love. Often it's about control. The favored child is the one who reinforces the parent's self-image, the one who is easier to manage, more compliant, less likely to challenge the family narrative. Maya had been the difficult one because she asked questions. She demanded fairness. She noticed when things were uneven, and instead of adjusting, her mother had simply moved her further to the margins. A 2010 study found that siblings who sensed their mother consistently favored one child over another were more likely to exhibit depression in middle age. Maya was 23. She could already feel the weight of it. Not just sadness, but a deep-rooted belief that she was somehow less deserving of love. That was the real damage. Not the exclusion itself, but the way she had internalized it. She had spent years believing that if she were better, quieter, more agreeable, she would finally be seen. But she had been straight-A, independent, accomplished. None of it had ever been enough. The week before Emma's graduation, Maya received a group text from her mother. "Family dinner Friday at 7, hope everyone can make it." Maya's father added a thumbs-up emoji. Emma added a heart. Maya typed and deleted several responses. In the end, she wrote, "I'll be there." She had decided to go, not to celebrate Emma, not to make peace. She went to see if the pattern would repeat itself one more time. If it did, she would have her answer, and she would know exactly what to do next. The dinner was at the same Italian restaurant where her mother had taken Emma on Maya's graduation day. Maya walked in and saw her family already seated, her mother at the head of the table, her father next to her, Emma across from them. There was a single empty chair at the far end, the same placement she had been given at countless family gatherings, not separate enough to be obvious, just far enough to be marginal. Maya sat down, her mother smiled and said, "So glad you could make it." The words were correct. The tone was not. It was the tone of a woman who had been inconvenienced by her daughter's temporary rebellion and was now pretending everything was normal. Maya said nothing. She just watched. The conversation flowed around her. Emma's graduation plans, Emma's summer internship, Emma's boyfriend. Her mother glowed, her father nodded. Maya ate her pasta and observed. At one point, her mother turned to her and asked, "How's work?" Maya said it was fine. The conversation immediately returned to Emma. The pattern held. Then something unexpected happened. Emma's phone buzzed. She picked it up and said, "Oh, Mom, remember that post from Maya's graduation? I got another comment." Her mother's face flickered. Emma read aloud. "Wait, wasn't that Maya's graduation? Why is Emma in the photo?" There was a pause. Emma looked confused. "I didn't realize people would think it was weird." Maya's mother recovered quickly. "It was a celebration for both of you, you know that." But Emma wasn't convinced. "But Maya wasn't there. People are asking." Her mother waved a hand. "Don't worry about what strangers think. It was a family moment." Maya set down her fork. The room felt smaller. She spoke calmly. "It wasn't a family moment. You took Emma out to celebrate my graduation without me, and you posted it as if it was for her." Her mother's face went tight. "Maya, let's not do this at dinner." Maya didn't stop. "I've been letting things slide for 23 years. I think I'm allowed to have this conversation." Her father looked down. Emma looked between them, her earlier confusion hardening into something else. Her mother leaned in, voice low. "You want to talk about it? Fine." Emma needed support that day. She was stressed about her own finals. "I thought it would help her to feel included." Maya stared at her. "So you celebrated my graduation by excluding me to make Emma feel better?" Her mother said, "You're twisting it." That was the pivot. For the first time, Maya saw the mechanism clearly. Her mother wasn't just favoring Emma. She was using Maya's stability as a resource to manage Emma's emotions. Maya had been so independent, so capable, that her mother assumed she didn't need celebration. She didn't need acknowledgement. She could handle it. And Emma, who needed constant reassurance, got all the attention. Maya's strength had become the justification for her neglect. The research calls this the competent child trap. The one who doesn't complain is assumed to need nothing. But every child needs to be seen. Maya had been performing competence for so long that even she had forgotten how much she craved recognition. And in that moment, she decided never to perform it again. She stood up. I'm leaving now, not because I'm angry, because I'm done proving that I deserve to be treated like a daughter. Her mother opened her mouth to speak, but Maya was already walking away. Her father called her name. She didn't turn around. She made it to the parking lot before the tears came. Not from sadness, from relief. Years of tension drained out of her. She had said it. She had broken the silence. And whatever came next, she knew she would never sit at the far end of the table again. But the hardest part was still ahead. Her mother had not apologized. Emma had not defended her. And the family narrative was too deeply woven to unravel in one dinner. Maya needed to decide if she wanted to keep fighting or if she wanted to walk away for good. The next morning, Maya's phone exploded with messages, but none of them said what she needed to hear. Her mother had sent a long text. I think you overreacted. We need to talk about this as a family. Your father and I love you both equally. You're letting your emotions get the best of you. Maya read it twice. The word equally burned. She knew the truth now, and no amount of careful wording could cover the years of imbalance. Her father called, she answered. His voice was tired. Your mother is really upset. She doesn't understand why you walked out. Maya said, she does understand, she just doesn't want to admit it. Her father was quiet for a long moment. Then he said something he had never said before. I should have done more, I should have spoken up all those years. Maya felt a crack in her chest. She wanted to say yes, you should have, but instead she said, it's not too late to start. He promised to think about it. Maya knew promises from her father often dissolved into silence, but she held on to it anyway. Then Emma called. Maya had not spoken to her sister directly since the Instagram post. Emma's voice was strained. I didn't know Mom was going to post that. I thought it was just a dinner for the two of us to celebrate you. Maya said, but you went along with it. You posed for the photo, you wrote the caption. Emma was quiet. Then she said, I didn't think about how it would look. I was just happy she was paying attention to me for once. That sentence landed like a punch. Emma, the favorite, admitting she was desperate for attention too. Maya realized something she had never considered. Being the favorite came with its own pressure. Emma had to perform happiness, gratitude, and constant affection to keep their mother's approval. One wrong move and she could lose her place. The golden child was also a prisoner. But that realization did not erase the damage. Emma had benefited from the system. She had enjoyed the spotlight while Maya stood in the dark. And now, for the first time, Emma was seeing the cost. She said, I'm sorry, I should have told Mom it was wrong. Maya said, you still can. Emma promised to talk to their mother. Maya didn't know if she would. 3 days later, Maya received a letter in the mail, handwritten from her mother. It was the first time Diane had put anything in writing. Maya opened it with trembling hands. The letter began, Dear Maya, I am sorry you felt excluded at your graduation. That was never my intention. I love you and Emma equally, but differently. You have always been so strong and independent that I thought you didn't need the same kind of attention. I see now that was a mistake. Maya stopped reading. The letter was an apology, but it was also an excuse. You were so strong was just another way of saying, I didn't think you deserved care. The letter went on to ask Maya to come to Emma's graduation to let the family heal to move forward. It ended with, I hope you can forgive me. Families are complicated, but love endures. Maya set the letter down. She knew that if she accepted this apology, nothing would change. The same patterns would repeat. The next milestone would come, and she would be pushed to the margin again. This time, she needed to see real change, not words. She decided to attend Emma's graduation, not for her mother, for herself. She wanted to witness one more time how the family operated under pressure. She wanted to see if her mother's apology had any substance behind it. The graduation was held at the same university where Emma had been a student, a large outdoor ceremony with thousands of families. Maya arrived alone. She found her family in the stands. Her mother had saved her a seat, not at the end this time, but in the middle, a small gesture. Maya took the seat. Her father nodded. Her mother smiled a tight smile. Emma was already on the field with the graduates. The ceremony proceeded. When Emma's name was called, Maya clapped. Her mother cheered loudly. Her father whistled. Afterward, they gathered on the lawn. Emma ran up to them, hugged their mother first, then their father, then Maya. She held the hug a little longer than usual. I'm glad you came, she whispered. Maya said, me too. Then came the family photos. Her mother directed everyone into position. Maya stood next to her father. Her mother posed with Emma. Then the photographer asked for a shot of the whole family. They clustered together. Maya felt like an extra in someone else's movie, but she smiled. She played the role one more time. As they were packing up, Maya's mother pulled her aside. "I meant what I wrote. I want to do better." Maya looked at her. "Show me, don't just tell me." Her mother nodded. Maya didn't know if it was real, but she decided to give it a chance. But the chance lasted exactly 1 week. Emma's graduation party was scheduled for the following Saturday. The entire extended family was invited. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. Maya received the invitation as a group text. She RSVP'd yes. She arrived at the house at the appointed time. The backyard was decorated with banners and balloons. A large table held catered food. Another table held gifts. Emma was surrounded by cousins. Her mother was circulating, glowing with pride. Maya walked in and immediately noticed something. On the gift table there were 2 piles, one with Emma's name. The other, smaller pile had a card that read for Maya. She picked it up. Inside was a check for $50 and a note. "For your continued success. Love, Grandma." Maya's grandmother had sent her a separate gift. Her mother had not mentioned it. Maya wondered if the gift had been hidden or if her mother had simply forgot. She approached her mother. "Did Grandma send me a gift?" Her mother's face flickered. "Oh yes, I put it on the table. Did you find it?" There was something evasive in her voice. Maya pressed. "Why didn't you tell me?" Her mother said. "I didn't want to make it about you. This is Emma's day." The words hung in the air. Maya felt the familiar tightness. Her mother had received an acknowledgement of Maya's existence from a family member and had chosen to bury it. Not out of malice, maybe, but out of habit. Emma's day could not be contaminated by attention on Maya. Even a simple gift had to be marginalized. Maya put the check in her pocket. She walked over to Emma, who was opening presents. Emma looked up and smiled. Maya said, "Can I talk to you for a second?" Emma nodded. They stepped away from the crowd. Maya said, "Did you know Grandma sent me a gift?" Emma's face showed surprise. "No, Mom didn't mention it." Maya said, "She put it on the table but didn't tell me. She said she didn't want to make it about me." Emma's expression shifted. She was beginning to see the pattern more clearly now. Emma said, "I'm sorry, that's not right." Maya said, "No, it's not." And in that moment, Maya realized that her mother's apology had been a performance. The seat in the middle, the tight smile, the words, they were all part of a show to get Maya back in line. The real change had never started, and maybe it never would. Maya stayed for another hour. She talked to her grandmother, thanked her for the gift. She hugged her cousins. She ate a piece of cake, and then she left. She hugged Emma goodbye and said, "You deserved a good day. I'm glad yours was better than mine." Emma looked like she might cry. "I'm sorry," she whispered again. Maya said, "It's not your fault, but it's not mine either." That night, Maya sat in her apartment and opened the document she had started weeks ago, the list of patterns. She added the new entry, graduation party, age 23, Grandma's gift hidden. Mother said she didn't want to make it about me. She saved the file. Then she opened her phone and looked at her mother's contact. She did not block her, not yet, but she changed the name from Mom to Diane. A small act, but it meant something. The next morning, Maya's phone buzzed. A text from her mother. "Thank you for coming yesterday. I hope you had a good time." Maya typed a response. She deleted it, typed another, deleted it. Finally, she wrote, "I had a fine time. I hope you and Emma enjoyed your day." Professional, polite, distant. Her mother replied, "I love you." Maya did not respond. She knew the war was not over, but she had stopped fighting the wrong battles. The next step would require a decision. Could this family ever change? Or was the only healthy choice to walk away entirely? Maya wasn't ready to answer that yet, but she was closer than she had ever been. And she knew that whatever happened next, she would never again accept a seat at the far end of the table. The decision Maya had been avoiding for 23 years arrived on a Tuesday afternoon in a form she never expected. A letter from her father. Handwritten, on the stationery he used only for formal correspondence. He had never written her a letter before. Maya opened it with the same trembling hands she had used to open her mother's letter weeks earlier. But this one was different. It read, "Dear Maya, I have spent my entire marriage believing that silence was the same thing as peace. I was wrong. I watched your mother favor Emma for years and told myself it wasn't that bad. I watched you shrink and told myself you were strong enough to handle it. I was wrong about both. I am not writing to ask for forgiveness. I am writing to tell you that I am leaving your mother. I have already found an apartment. I am done being a man who watches his daughter suffer and says nothing. Maya read the letter 3 times. She had never imagined this outcome. Her father, the quiet bystander, the man who had smiled apologetically from the sidelines for 2 decades, had finally acted. She called him immediately. His voice was steady. I should have done this years ago. I'm sorry it took me so long. Maya asked what had changed. He said, seeing you walk out of that restaurant, seeing you set down your fork and speak the truth, I realized I had been teaching you that endurance was love. It's not. The divorce moved quickly. Diane was blindsided. She called Maya furious. Your father is leaving me because of you. Are you happy now? Maya stayed calm. He's leaving because of choices he made and choices you made. I didn't cause anything. I just stopped hiding it. Diane hung up. That was the last time they spoke for months. Emma called crying. Everything is falling apart. Mom is a wreck. Dad is gone. I don't know what to do. Maya listened. She didn't offer easy comfort. She said, the family we thought we had was built on a lie. Now we get to decide what we build next. That's scary, but it's also honest. Emma was quiet. Then she said, I want to build something honest too. Can we start with us? Maya agreed. Over the next few weeks, Maya and Emma began rebuilding their relationship outside the pressure of their mother's attention. They met for coffee, no agenda. They talked about childhood memories. Emma admitted she had always felt pressure to be perfect, to keep their mother happy, to never cause trouble. Maya admitted she had resented Emma for receiving what she herself had been denied. Both of them realized they had been playing roles in a story their mother had written. They decided to write their own. The surprising detail came in a conversation with their grandmother, the one who had sent the hidden gift. Maya visited her and asked, Did you know Mom always favored Emma? Her grandmother paused, then said, I knew. I tried to balance it out when I could, but your mother learned that behavior from somewhere. Maya asked what she meant. Her grandmother explained, Diane had been the unfavored child in her own family. Her older sister had been the golden child. Diane had spent her entire childhood feeling invisible, vowing that when she had children, she would never make one child feel less than the other. But patterns repeat. She had not escaped the cycle. She had just reversed the roles. She became the mother who created the same pain she had known, only this time Maya carried it. That revelation reframed everything. Diane was not a villain. She was a wounded person who had never healed. She had passed down the very injury she had sworn to break. Maya felt something shift in her chest, not forgiveness exactly, but understanding. She realized that her mother's favoritism was never about Maya's worth. It was about Diane's unhealed childhood. Maya had simply been the vessel for a pain that started decades before she was born. But understanding did not mean accepting the behavior. Maya set a boundary. She would not attend family events organized by her mother. She would not engage in arguments about the past. She would be available for honest conversation, but only if Diane acknowledged the pattern and sought help. Diane refused. She insisted she had been a good mother, that Maya was exaggerating, that the divorce had made everything worse. Maya did not argue. She simply stated her boundary and held it. Months passed. Maya built a life that felt whole. She pursued a promotion at work. She reconnected with friends she had neglected. She started therapy, where she learned the term competent child and recognized herself immediately. She stopped performing strength for people who used it as an excuse to overlook her. She learned that vulnerability was not weakness, but the foundation of real connection. Emma, meanwhile, began her own journey. She stopped seeking their mother's approval as a measure of her worth. She dated someone who challenged her to think critically about family dynamics. She called Maya regularly, not to complain, but to check in. They were becoming sisters in the truest sense. Then, on a cold December evening, Maya received a text from an unknown number. It was her mother. I started therapy. I have a long way to go, but I wanted you to know I'm trying. Maya stared at the screen. She did not rush to respond. She took a day to think. Then she wrote, I'm glad you're getting help. I need time, but I'm not closing the door. It was not a reunion. It was a crack of light, and for now, that was enough. The final scene of this story takes place not at a graduation, not at a restaurant, but at a small park near Maya's apartment. She is sitting on a bench with Emma. They are watching children play on a swing set. Emma says, Do you think we'll ever have a normal family? Maya considers the question. She says, I don't think normal exists, but I think we can have an honest one, and honest is better. Emma nods. They sit in companionable silence. Maya's phone buzzes. It's a message from her father. Dinner next week, just us. She smiles and types back, I'll be there. The cycle of favoritism did not break overnight. It broke slowly, painfully, through small acts of courage. A father who finally spoke, a sister who finally listened, a mother who finally looked inward, and a daughter who finally stopped making herself small so others could feel big. The promise of the hook is now fulfilled. Maya was forgotten on graduation day, but she did not stay forgotten. She remembered herself. She rebuilt her life on her own terms, and in doing so, she became the architect of her own recognition. The Instagram post that once defined her pain now sits in her past, a reminder of where she started, not where she ended. She still has the screenshot. She keeps it in a folder labeled before, because there is an after. And the story is not over. It never really is. But Maya is no longer waiting for someone else to write the next chapter. She holds the pen. Maya holds the pen, but her story isn't just hers. It belongs to every child who has ever been the invisible one in a family photo. Every sibling who has watched a parent's attention flow like a river that somehow never reaches them. Every person who has been told they are too sensitive, too difficult, too demanding, simply for wanting to be seen. The research is clear on what this does to a person. Perceived favoritism in childhood creates wounds that persist into middle age. It shapes how we trust, how we love, how we move through the world. But the research also shows something else. Awareness is the first step toward breaking the cycle. Maya's mother had to confront her own history of being unfavored before she could begin to change. Maya had to stop performing strength before she could find real connection. Emma had to stop being the favorite before she could become a true sister. This story is not a simple tale of a villain and a victim. It is a portrait of a family system, one that runs on unspoken rules and inherited pain. The antagonist was never just Diane. It was silence. It was avoidance. It was the lie that love can be unequal and still be whole. Those forces exist in homes everywhere, behind closed doors, under smiles, inside group chats that leave one person out. The lingering question is not whether families can change. They can. The question is whether we are willing to sit in the discomfort required to change them. Maya's father left a marriage. Maya's mother entered therapy. Maya and Emma rebuilt a relationship. None of it was easy. None of it was quick. But every single step required someone to speak when silence was easier. If you recognized yourself in this story, know this: being forgotten does not mean you are forgettable. Being overlooked does not mean you are small. And walking away is not the same as giving up. Sometimes walking away is the first honest thing you have ever done for yourself. The cycle ends when one person refuses to carry it forward. That person can be you. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment about how you would have handled that night at the restaurant. And subscribe to see more stories about the moments that shape us, the patterns that bind us, and the courage it takes to break them. Maya is no longer waiting to be seen. She sees herself, and that is the greatest graduation of all.